What's up, Earthrockers? It's your boy Shovatar here with the last Castlevania video that I'm going to be posting. A video that on the one hand, I never thought I would ever do a video like this, but in retrospect, I think it was inevitable. Because the meta story behind this channel really is me kind of pushing at the boundaries of what level of difficulty I'm comfortable with. Like, it started off with me deciding it'd be fun to try to 1cc games, then no death games, then like recently I started posting no damages. So I was kind of gradually pushing the boundaries, and at the end of like the challenge rainbow is speedruns, or like a good speedrun, basically, like a good enough time. Which I think the final time on this run is 16:24, which I think is like 17th place or something on speedrun.com, which isn't bad. This is a really good level 1, by the way. Level 1 was a really frequent reset point for me because it's just very easy to accidentally roll into skeletons, and I was more comfortable with taking more risks because it was so early in the run. So yeah, like I said, this would be like, I don't know, like 18th or 20th place or something in speedrun.com. I'm not going to submit it to speedrun.com because run is technically in violation of one of its rules, because I'm reloading from a save state at file select rather than fully restarting the game. And the reason I didn't feel like fully restarting the game is because every time you restart the game on BizHawk, you have to like go to the PC engine start screen, then the game start screen, then go to file select, then move the stage select back to stage 1, then start up the stage. It's just a big fat pain in the ass. This boss was also a big fat pain in the ass because I need to hit at least one knuckle on those two initial lunges out of the water, and then hit him with the third knuckle at least. He'll die to 3. He'll die to 4 total ticks of a guardian knuckle. So you need to hit him like once at least in the first 2. But if you can hit him twice, so that you only have to do 2 ticks to him on the third emergence from the water, then you only have to do 2 ticks, and it's over that much faster. So yeah, I was reloading from a save state on file select. The reason that's against speedrun.com rules is because you can abuse that to fix RNG by like starting the game on a certain timing from the save state. That's not what I did. I'm not at that level. I was still getting like plenty of RNG, so but whatever. This is not... I'm just posting this for you guys, I'm just posting this for me. This is also a giant pain in the ass to get right, because you have to, like... Those bone turrets are kind of hard to jump over, because if they turn in the direction you're not... You have to get, like, right up next to them and then jump really far over them, or else you'll accidentally clip your foot on, like, the edge of one of their heads. And then this shortcut here is, just the fastest way to get to alternate 3. What speedrunners do, like real speedrunners do here, is they do a glitch involving the turtle subweapon, where Maria can do an extra jump out of the turtle subweapon, because when you use the turtle subweapon, it kind of freezes you in place for a little bit and puts a shell around you. They can jump out of that to get like an extra jump. And what they do, and I don't quite know how this works exactly, but they'll like fall down in that the first part of the stage with the gargoyles in it, and then they'll do like extra jumps over to the side of the screen and trigger some kind of glitch that will basically trick the game into thinking they've done this little canoe ride to get to alternate 3, so they don't have to do any of this. And this whole like gauntlet with the fishmen takes about a minute, I want to say. It's not that hard to actually do, but it is kind of obnoxious because you're kind of just sitting there like... It's checking your timing over and over again, and because I was resetting a lot on level 1, I kind of wanted every run that got past level 1 to get like forward as quickly as possible. That was kind of an objective generally, but that part with the fishmen was just like a big, boring interlude early in the run that I just had to slog through. So level 3 is where things can really start going wrong. Level 2 is fairly simple. There's just like, if you hit the jumps over the turret, that's the only thing really that can get fucked up. Level 3 is tricky mostly because of the boss. Who is not this guy. This guy is pretty easy to kill. Real speedrunners kill him with birds. I think they just like get up in the corner and then... Because like in real speedruns... So this is a no damage run, but in real speedruns you actually want to take damage, because the more damage you take, the quicker the life counter at the end of every level counts down. So that gives them a lot more flexibility because they can do strats that involve taking damage. Because I've given myself the stipulation that I don't want to take any damage, I can't do that. And here I jump through them while they're taking damage from the dragon to get to this part really fast. And then the timing on that like mid-air jump to get over the spike ball is actually pretty tight, because if you do it too early, you'll get landing delay when you hit the floor, and if you do it too late, of course, you'll fall right on top of the spike ball, which like knocks you into the corner, which was a reset for me. I really didn't want to get hit by that. Speaking of resets, the dog ether here is the first time that the game that the speedrun really tests, like, okay, how good are your Guardian Knuckles? Because you have to hit those first two pretty much one after the other in order to prevent him from causing you any trouble. Because if you don't do that, he might teleport away. Sometimes he teleports away anyway, but basically every second he remains alive after that initial green laser attack is a second that he could be using to teleport away from you, at which point you've lost control of the fight and now it's just going to take way too much time. That was another reset point for me. That was the thing about this run that made it so hard, compared to all the other runs I'd done before it, was how much like lower the threshold for a run-ending mistake became. Where it wasn't just like taking damage, it was also like if something looked messy, if something just didn't really turn out the way I wanted it to turn out, I would basically reset. And stuff like the Dog Other fight was a big reset point for that reason, because I had to hit two really fast Guardian Knuckles in really particular positions in order to get through it. So here I'm going to take a different route. I'm not going to go alternate 5, because alternate 5 would be a nightmare to speedrun because there's so much shit coming at you all the time. And because this last part of level 4 can be finished really, really quickly with Maria, thanks to her rolling ability. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to kill the frogs, then after I kill the frogs, I'm free to just turbo roll the rest of the way, because as you can see, the skeletons will not drop on top of you. And then there's going to be one more big turbo roll after all this. And I do something, I don't really know what the optimal way to get down these steps is, I figured I would just do this. And here I wait for a second, because that skeleton behind the tree, if he's too far out of the tree and you try to start the roll, then you can actually roll into him and take damage, even if he's just like, it's a very small thing. If he's just slightly too far out of the tree, then you can roll into him, which is very annoying. And it did mean I had to pause there for a second, but that was just the safest option. So coming up to the Doulahan fight, this was another like big problem area, because I couldn't quite decide how to kill him. Speedrunners kill him in a certain way so that he dies when his like head is up in the air, so he doesn't do the final attack animation. I guess I don't know why, but I just kind of didn't really want to do that, because I had this idea that I could kill him with like just Guardian Knuckles instead. Because if you Guardian Knuckle, you can be underneath that lance thrust. But you'll notice there that for some reason, that third Guardian Knuckle only did 2 ticks to him instead of 3. And I think what happened there was, that was a manifestation of a problem that started appearing in the later attempts that I was doing, because as I was doing more and more attempts, I was getting better and better at the Guardian Knuckle. And that actually kind of became a problem, because I had become used to a certain timing on the Guardian Knuckle in my earlier attempts that I was now overshooting because I was doing them so much faster. And I think what happened there was there hadn't been enough downtime between the third tick he took from the second Guardian Knuckle for him to get hit by the first tick from the third Guardian Knuckle, or something like that. Some tick was missing there, so I had to finish him off with a bird, which was a little bit of a extra bit of time and kind of ruined what otherwise would have been a picture-perfect Doulahan kill. Still inefficient either way, because you really do want to kill him so that he doesn't get off the final attack just to save some time, but it could have at least been like flashy and perfect, but instead it was slightly flashy and like almost perfect. So that wasn't quite a reset, because kind of the later in the run I get, the larger and larger my tolerance for mistakes become, which is why level 1 was such a huge reset point. This is also not what speedrunners do. I'm basically using the dragon a lot, which I think speedrunners basically never use. But this part here is super important that I get through it really fast, because there's a door at the end of this hallway, but the door will only like let you get through it if the ship is bobbing up and down at its lowest point, and there I barely hit that cycle and got to the door when the ship was low, and then got through. So that was very, very fortunate. That was basically exactly what I wanted. Speedrunners do a thing where they shoot a bird at these green armor guys and then roll through them while they're taking damage, because you can walk through enemies while they take damage. That was not intentional, that was a mistake, I didn't know he was going to drop that. But I couldn't figure that out. I tried doing it a couple times and that just didn't work, and I was just like, fuck it, I don't care. Here I fuck up again. I did one roll too many, and I almost rolled right into that gun skeleton, which is not what I wanted to do. So that was pretty scary, but that's just kind of... That's why this run is so hard, because there's so many tiny little mechanical errors that can almost lead to the run ending. And so here's the Grim Reaper, who is another pretty big reset point. Speedrunners do this same thing that I'm doing, but they fight him over on the left. I tried doing that, but I didn't know where he was. I didn't feel like I had consistent control of his positioning. Here, if I double jump at the start of the fight, he always takes that same path down diagonally right into range of my dragon, and plus I can see him, I can see all the scythes that he summons, because he summons the scythes around himself. It's just so much easier to see him and to react to him if I start over on the right instead of over on the left. It was just so much more consistent. And so for phase 2, my plan is to kill him in one Guardian Knuckle, But what I did in my main route video with on Maria was I just Guardian Knuckled in place and let him walk into the second tick. There, I decided to take a step forward while he was in mid-air falling on top of the ship, so that way I wouldn't have to wait for him to step into the second tick. He would just get hit by the second tick of the Guardian Knuckle as soon as it was ready. So that saved a tiny little fraction of a second, and it kind of flowed better, and I figured it was worth it because, I don't know, I just didn't really envision myself fucking that up. I did fuck it up a couple times because there is something trickier to the input of like walk forward, then stop walking forward, then Guardian Knuckle, rather than just Guardian Knuckling in place. But ultimately, I felt like it was worth it. It just looked so much better. It made the footage so much cooler. It was just kind of what I wanted. So now we're at the boss rush, which is basically like a Guardian Knuckle gauntlet. This is like, can you Guardian Knuckle? And this is a part of the run that I want to go like almost perfectly. Like if I fuck up almost anything here, I'm gonna reset. Like if I fuck up the back kill, I reset. Only 11 minutes in, but that 11 minutes feels a lot longer when you're resetting as often as I was doing. That's tricky because you have to just execute, like, it's that second knuckle that's hard, because you have to jump to the left, jump to the right, then knuckle to the left really fast. This is, I think, the best way to kill the Medusa. I don't know if there's a way to do it cleanly in 2 knuckles. I suspect there isn't, because she gets knocked back when she takes damage, so I think that's the best that I could do there. The mummy fight, I fuck up. I have to do 1 extra knuckle instead of just getting him in 2 clean ones, because I think I'm too close to him. Let's see for a second. I don't know what that was. I think I was too close to him. Maybe because he didn't get hit by the 3rd tick of the first knuckle. Maybe if I'd been further, or maybe he was like out of range of it by the end of his like setup. That's probably it, but I'm not sure. So with Shaft, the Shaft fight can go either really cleanly or mostly cleanly. What I want here is I want him to teleport to the left. If he teleports to the left, then I know he's going to teleport back to the right. So all I have to do is knuckle him once, then knuckle him to the left, then knuckle him to the right again, and he dies. But in this attempt, he did not do that. He's going to teleport to the left instead. So I hit him with a couple ticks of the first Guardian Knuckle, then I roll twice, walk up to him, and then the reason I roll and then walk the rest of the way is because I want to give him time to start queuing up the fire orbs. Because when he's queuing up the fire orbs, he'll go into like a spell casting animation, which means that he won't teleport out of that animation. So I can hit him as many times as I want, and he won't just like jump away from me, which means that I can hit him with the rest of the Guardian Knuckles that I need to get the last of his health down. So not perfect, not like the great Shaft kill that you want to see when you get there, but ultimately not that bad, not really a big reset point. Beyond just like screwing up the knuckles. What I mean by that is that I'm not in any danger of taking damage there. Like the only way I'm going to reset on Shaft is if I fuck up the knuckles or like I don't like how the fight went. That's mostly the hazards that I encountered in this run. It was very rare that I would reset to like taking damage. I would mostly reset to like not hitting a knuckle that I wanted to hit or like something else going wrong. So this room, I had a couple of ways to do it. You can actually kill that first skeleton by jumping right up to him and shooting a bird in his face if you roll and if you're fast enough. But it was just too risky, and it was just so much simpler to throw the dragon at him. And I knew I had the hearts to spare to get that done. Same with these harpies. That was just I don't know if that's necessarily the most efficient way to clear them out, but that was the way that I figured out how to do that I thought looked cool, so I figured I would do it. I think this is pretty good. So in level 7, this is where I start making really major mistakes. Like level 7 is kind of a shit show. And because this run has been going really, really smoothly up until this point. I haven't really fucked up that much except for the Dualahan. But there's a big mistake that I make right here, is I shoot the dragon too late and it goes over the bone monster's head. Which is bad because my plan there was to shoot the dragon to kill the bone monster. So I kind of panicked for a second and I thought that the bone monster was going to hit me. It just so happened that I ended up jumping over his head instead. But because that happened, I wasn't ready to double jump on the descent into that lower level, and I also like didn't get to the stairs very quickly. And then because I was rattled, I fucked up a Guardian Knuckle on that last Armor Knight before the final staircase leading up to the end. And I also paused for a second there on that second platform to let the pendulum swing further back to the right, so because if I jump like as soon as I get there, sometimes I could bonk my head on the pendulum. That's so hard to watch. That fucking shit. Ugh. What happened there was I wanted to drop down off of the staircase, but because I wasn't like far down enough on the stairs or something, I ended up jumping back up onto that higher level. Having to walk over and walk back down, and now I'm actually really mad because that's the kind of mistake that I really did not want to be here, and I'm pretty sure This is the first run that I ever got past the boss rush, which is probably why it's so sloppy. And I was like in two minds at this point, where I'm like, honestly, if I fuck this up and take damage, it's almost like I want to finish out the run, but at the same time, I was just really mad about fucking up the staircase movement back there. So I actually almost got hit by a bat there while I was juggling shaft back and forth. And I think that's just because I was like mad and kind of had a little bit of a death wish at that point, because like I wouldn't have minded resetting, but at the same time, like I'd been trying to do this for so long and I was so nervous at this point. I don't know. That shaft kill, by the way, was I think not was not like efficient. The way speedrunners do it is they keep him over in the corner on the right, and then they spam like birds on him to kill him. But the thing is that I'm going to use a lot of birds on the Dracula fight, and I want to end the Dracula fight at like 16 hearts or more. I don't want to go underneath 15 hearts, because if you go underneath 15 hearts with the birds, you can't like shoot two of them at the same time. You can only shoot one. And I want to be able to shoot two throughout the entire Dracula fight. So there's two ways. What I want to do is I want a 3-phase Dracula. So like kill him and get him out of phase 1 in 3 teleports. And there are two ways to do that. You can either shoot 2 sets of white birds at him, or you can shoot 1 set of white birds and walk forward and use the cardinals to both intercept the fireballs and do the rest of the damage to him. I just found the cardinals to be easier to execute. I tried both things a lot of times. And then phase 2 is a lot simpler. You just like hit him with a couple of cardinals when he's on his way down, and then finish him off with the birds. And that was a little bit slow, but I got it down. I finished up the run. The Cardinals, like using the Cardinals to get the 3 cycle on phase 1 is pretty risky, because you have to kind of play in a way that's not intuitive. You have to get like super close to him and then literally like intercept the fireballs with the birds as they're coming out. Because if you're that close to him, then the fireballs will hit you if they get out. But you also have to be close enough to him to make sure that both the birds hit him and they like hit him on the reverse, and that your second white bird is also hitting him on the return back. So there's a lot going on in Dracula, but I got it, and I did it pretty well. I actually fucked up the first cycle. The first cycle I didn't do as much damage as I should have, but I made up for it in the next 2, and so I got the 3 cycle, even though it wasn't like a perfectly clean 3 cycle. And that was just the result of a lot of practice. Something that I do a lot whenever I practice these runs is I'll always practice like the end levels a lot, which is one reason why this was the first run that I got past the boss rush, but I was still able to close it out, because I had just practiced it so much. So this whole like exercise, this whole speedrun thing was actually like the worst. It was the most grueling experience I ever had collecting footage for this channel. I've gotten some footage for this channel that was really hard to collect, like doing the Akama code and Dracula's Curse. Some of the other Rondo no damages were pretty fucking rough. This was like on another level, because I was resetting on like so many arbitrary little things, like, oh, I didn't hit that knuckle, oh, I didn't hit that jump, oh, I didn't like get this thing the way I wanted. I was just resetting so much on so many different things. And honestly, by the end of the process, I kind of felt like I wasn't even like playing a game anymore. It just felt like I was performing an arbitrary series of button inputs to achieve some hypothetical result. So as cool as this footage is, looking back on it, except for the terrible level 7, I don't think I'm going to do something like this ever again. Or if I do, I don't know, I'm going to have to like change up something about the process to make it a little bit more bearable, because this was actually miserable by the end. But I put in so many attempts and so much work and so much time that I had to finish it. In part just because I'd started it, and also because I wanted some kind of like noteworthy finale to all the Castlevania videos that I was posting, and I figured this would be the best way to do it. Rondo's my favorite game of the series. Maria is a big part of why I love Rondo so much. This is like a different kind of challenge run than anything I've done before. I thought that it would make sense for this to be the climax. So, all in all, the experience has given me a higher level of respect for speedrunners. I like speedruns. I'm not really interested in doing speedruns, especially after this, now that I know how fucking hard it is. But, yeah, like I said, new level of respect and understanding of just how much harder a good speedrun is than any other kind of challenge run that's of a lesser difficulty than that. I'm sure that differs depending on the game, but that was my experience with Rondo of Blood. And I don't even know if this qualifies as a good speedrun, to be honest with you. Like, I don't know. I mean, it looked pretty good to me, and I definitely put a lot of work into it and a lot of time into it, but I don't know how this would, like, compare to like general Rondo speedruns, because the only Rondo speedruns I've watched that were Maria are like the world record ones, just because that's where they go for all the craziest shit and they have the best execution. So I don't know, but I'm just glad I got it done. I'm pretty proud of this. I'm pretty happy with how this turned out. I'm pretty happy with how all of this turned out, to be honest with you. This whole year of Castlevania that I've engaged in, and I just want to say thank you to all you guys for watching my videos. Those few of you who have, thank you for the comments you leave, for appreciating what I put out. This is a kind of a new thing for me. I haven't really put myself out there in this way before with anything else. So I'm just really grateful for everybody who takes the time to appreciate what I've done. You know, I couldn't ask for anything more. And I don't know when I'm going to be back. I'm going to definitely be taking a break. You're not going to see me throughout the rest of the month. You're not going to see me through December. I might come back at some point in the future. I don't know exactly when that's going to be. But until that time comes, each and every one of you, please, please, please hang in there and keep on Earth rocking. And I'll see you guys in the future. Farewell.